Overwatch is definitely one of the franchises out there. In its prime, it created legends, gave birth to stars, and the Overwatch League and World Cup remodeled the universe. These were the golden years. It was nostalgic just remembering it. Some of my favorite clips were from this time.
Excuse me? You're talking to bronze damage.
But how did something this big died apparently overnight? Well, let's start from the beginning. Overwatch's main reason for success was that Valve killed Team 42. Nah, they tortured, threatened its whole community, 360 quickscoped our ass, and buried us alive. Blizzard was just there, happy to take the opportunity. As the game died, Overwatch would rise. And before you know, it was huge. Jeff Kaplan would say,
we always had a belief that we were going to make the game competitive.
But Overwatch apparently always intended to have a PvE mode. They've been releasing bits of it since 2017, probably inspired by TF2's MVM. And they might have scratched the idea just because of how big the game got as an esport. After Blizzard realized what they had in hands, they would focus all their energy into making Overwatch a better esport. This was its biggest success factor, but also its biggest demon. I'd say Valve proved that for a game to succeed as an esport in the long run, you can't have much changes to the core gameplay. Blizzard, on the other hand, would have the opposite mentality. The game would die one night and get rezzed in the next morning, just because of how swiftly the meta would change. Overwatch and the Overwatch League became synonyms. Blizzard would shape the game, always having the professional scenario in mind. The problem with that is that the characters that are popular in the Overwatch League aren't necessarily the best for the casual players. Casual players just want characters with fun mechanics, while pros love broken shit, hard stuns, infinite damage, and walls of shields. Every new character released could do at least one of these things. Over time, the gameplay devolved into matches with characters that were massive damage sponges, hard CCs that would minimize your game, open YouTube and play some elevator music while you wait for the stun to wear off. And shields with huge HP bars for you to break through. The only play was to shoot shields in order to do little damage to an enemy until your ult is charged, so you can do a synchronized attack with a team. To push the cart like 15 meters until the enemy respawns and dumps their ults back at you. Hence a repeat multiple times until the match is over.
It's not like I don't want to play Overwatch, because I do, but the meta right now literally is ass. I would rather do push-ups. I would rather lose weight. I would rather run a mile.
This coming from Team Tatatman, you must believe it sucked. But for the very least, it is room for improvement. Somewhere in Blizzard headquarters, Jeff was listening closely. And so, he came up with a solution. What did they do to break this boring meta? They released a character that is a bullet sponge, have 2 different stuns, deals lots of damage, heals when she's doing damage, and have a shield with great HP. Blizzard, not satisfied, also gave her the ability to make others into bullet sponges too. Bridget literally became the new meta. DPS was now basically dead. And sorry, but your team comp doesn't have Bridget? You guys are just trolling then. Bridget was such a big problem that people even went after the voice actress, and she would really take to the heart whatever I had to say about her character. But anyway, this new meta comp was what people started calling as GOATs. The infamous 3-3 comp, 3 tanks and 3 supports. Popularized and named after an Overwatch League team that came to the scene and dominated with this comp. It started being used by everyone, meaning that now Overwatch League was boring to watch and the game was boring to play. So, Blizzard, we need a solution.
You know, we know that you have your main and you really enjoy playing that one character, and we don't want you to feel bad or wrong.
I'd say that was the moment where the game started its decline. Blizzard always refused to remove any launched character from the game. And so, they would spend the next 2 years trying to solve the issue at hand. At first, the little solutions that they would come up with were pretty minor, but over time they would nerf the character more and more while buffing others. Still, nothing seemed to really work. Blizzard's attempts were futile. People wouldn't stop playing the 3-3 comp. So Jeff manned up, and on July 2019, he went to the press and said this. Is this on? Okay, it's on.
Yo, little pieces of shit. You think you can play Brig forever? This is about to change. Introducing now the 222 roll-up.
And yeah, man, right there is the moment when the game officially flatlined. People were tired of the Bridget meta, so naturally, some people seemed genuinely happy to see the rule lock come into effect. But now, in hindsight, it definitely wasn't the call. People were used to playing whatever character they like. Some roles are just not as often picked as others, and it also didn't help that for the last 2 years or so, the meta was 3 tanks and 3 supports. After the warlock was implemented, more people started quitting left and right, all blaming the 222 lock.
Like when 222 came out, it definitely killed it for me. The queue times were like hours long. I couldn't fucking play a hero I wanted sometimes. Like,
and the cherry on top, coincidentally, while Overwatch was being knocked out cold, Blizzard decided to migrate the Overwatch League from Twitch to YouTube, which was a massive hit in their viewership. If that's not enough, the virus struck. The Overwatch League was known for its live show stage and whatnot, but now with the virus, the event was cancelled. Following the game's demise, Jeff Kaplan would step off from the game. The reasons behind it are still unclear. And with that, his vision and consequently everyone's vision of the game would get blurry. The thing about Overwatch 2 and something Blizzard have been promising for millions of years now is that Overwatch 2 was supposed to be a full-fledged PvE game, or at least it would be a huge focus. With amazing story and gameplay, it was the only reason for it to exist in the first place. Even in 2019, they already had a playable demo, and so much seemed complete and ready to go. But now, recently, Blizzard just announced that the PvE is just not coming out. What happened? Yeah, the 2 in the title is just cosmetic. Just represents a minor update that changed these 2 things. Everyone's been waiting for the massive PvE update, and all we got was an E-Date simulator. Seriously, what is going on at Blizzard headquarters, man? I just can't. But that's it. That's the whole story on how Blizzard is managing to kill such a big name as Overwatch, and it's getting better by the minute. I was just thinking, maybe the game was destined to fail. It was just too big for its own good. They had less of a budget running in, and too many people must get paid for it to have a sizable expansion. But yeah, I'd also love to hear what you guys think was the catalyst. Was it Bridget, the 222 lock, COVID, or Jeff Kaplan stepping off? I don't know much about all that. But I do know one thing though. Games, they come, they go. Saturday through Sunday, Monday through Sunday, yo.